What's going on, guys? I'm here today with an exciting video. I'm with Wes, owner of Black Ops Defense, and we're here talking about some of the cool builds that he does. So Wes, tell us a little bit about what we're doing here today.
So Black Ops Defense primarily specializes in custom HK builds. We sort of build all of the long gun, tactical versions, semi-automatic, civilian legal versions of all the guns HK won't sell you.
We got a whole table full of stuff here, as you guys can see. We got everything from the plastic guns into the 90 series guns. As some examples he's going to show us here today.
But like I said, all the HK long gun stuff that HK kind of won't sell you as a civilian, but we'd also do sort of conversions. So guns that start out life as sort of a less desirable version, like the USC or the SL8, and we convert them to the UMP and the G36. Primarily what we're going to talk about today, though, is the 90 series or the roller lock HK firearms. So in that case, we do everything from like the MP5 pistol caliber submachine guns all the way up to the PSG-1 sniper rifles and the 91s and 93s and 33s, etc.
So tell me about your process here. So I mean, are you just getting parts and people are, you're just kind of slapping it together, or are you actually building from the ground up?
So actually, with these roller lock 90 series HKs, we build these guns literally from scratch, from a flat sheet metal stamping all the way through to the finished gun, like the ones you see here. So all the welding, all the fabrication, all the finishing, the engravings, everything. We don't make every single individual part. Most of that comes from HK or other manufacturers that manufacture replica HK parts, for example. But we assemble it all together to make it into a firearm, and it's a very labor-intensive process with takes a lot of skill, a lot of fabrication, and a lot of work and a lot of time.
Where are you as far as lead times? If somebody wants to place an order, I mean, because everything is hand built, what is your lead time look like for a customer that maybe say today wants to place an order for one of your guns?
Well, that's a hard question to answer. Everybody always wants to know how long it's going to take, and that's always one of my hardest questions to answer. It always depends on how busy we are, what our workload is like at that time, and sort of exactly what they're ordering, how extensive their build is, how much work it's going to be to build their specific firearm. But generally speaking, we're usually several months, in a 6 months plus sort of range for most full complete builds.
All right, so show me what do you got here on the table. Let's go through some stuff.
So as far as the 90 series stuff, the roller lock guns, we have, this is actually an MP5K reverse stretch. What the reverse stretch is basically an MP5K or the short pistol version of the MP5 with the full receiver, the long back section, so you have different arm brace and stock options than you have with the MP5K. The MP5K is the full auto or police military version of the SP5K. And that's sort of a custom version. That's something actually the HK doesn't produce. So that's a custom version of that gun. The MP5F we have here, which is the closest thing to the standard, just regular, the gun from Die Hard. The regular old 9mm
Right.
MP5 would build more of these probably than anything else. This one has various accessories and stuff on it, the collapsible stock, the flashlight foregrip, and so on. But we do a lot of those. We actually do a lot of these as well. This is the MP5SD. This is this integrally suppressed version of the MP5, another version of the gun that HK doesn't sell to civilians. There's no semi-automatic civilian version of these guns. I should mention too that these guns have full auto markings on them, like the MP5F and the reverse stretch, and even this SD. Those are just the housings. They're semi-automatic inside, so anybody can buy these. These are just semi-automatic rifle, pistol, or short-barreled rifle versions of these guns. And then this down here on the end is the MLI version of the MP5. This is a version that HK did. It's, as you can see, just a fancy color with some different accessories and stuff on it, but it's essentially the same as a standard MP5 9mm with those accessories and the color change options. A custom 91. This one is a custom color with custom markings and everything. 308, basically just your basic 91 or G3 build in semi-automatic. That, like I said, we do everything from custom builds sort of like that all the way up to sort of, the flagship sniper rifle that HK is famous for from, back in the 80s or whatever, PSG-1. And we have lots of different versions of in different ways we can put those guns together. This one is done has most of the features that the PSG-1 would have had from the factory. So that's sort of a really higher end build for sure.
So I'll tell you, I mean, from being local in PA, which you guys are to me, which I found out is why we're here, I'm really impressed. I'm excited that there is somebody that is, I would say, not as well known in social media, right? Not a big company in social media,
yeah.
but still a very good company that produces quality builds that you may have to be in the niche of the MP5 world to have seen your build or heard of your company.
That's right. It's a very small group of other builders throughout the whole country. There's only a handful of HK builders and HK gunsmiths, and then even fewer out of that handful that are any good at it.
Right.
And a lot of them have been around longer than us, for sure. But we're a relatively small shop. We sort of, we give every single one of these guns that sort of extra special attention to detail that they need to really come out nice, like the ones you see here. Just everything from the welds to sanding and just all that final finishing it takes to really make these things look good. And so yes, it's time consuming. Yes, it takes it takes forever, and we don't have a ton of people working here. It's just basically my business partner and I and a couple people that give us a hand. And so really. It's just us. So basically we're able to focus on people's projects and we're really able to give them the attention that they need to really come out as good as they could possibly be.
Well, that's great because, not saying other companies don't do that, but
right,
being
absolutely.
able to dedicate your full attention to a particular build and somebody's, firearm that, let's be honest, it's not a cheap endeavor, right? So
these are not cheap, yeah.
So to be able to spend the time to make sure everything is as good as it can be, to have the end result be something the customer is just over the moon happy with,
right.
I think, a lot goes to that with the, great customer service. And if ever there was an issue that you guys, are certainly able to take care of it and fix the problem. And
yeah, we try to. Yeah, you kind of hit the nail on the head. We sort of try to be responsive. We try to get back to our customers when they ask us questions, and we sort of try to do our best to make people feel comfortable with, like you said, giving us all that money to build them their stream gun or whatever. All we can do is, like I said, keep the communication going, keep it open, usually reachable by email and phone. I know a lot of the guys out there, they're just really busy, and it's tough to make that work, but we do our best.
Yeah. So, a lot of you guys will know, if you follow me, you're into MP5s, and you've probably had a gun built by somebody somewhere, or just bought something, a clone off the shelf, by any of the big names that you would think of that make clone guns. But to be able to, have a company that specializes in doing it, yes, it's going to be more expensive, but the quality is going to be better than those factory assembly line type builds. So in a sense, you're definitely getting what you pay for. So if you want to do it right, and you have the means to do it, definitely, I would recommend going that route, and that way you have it, and there's no worries. You can pick everything you want. You can go through, and you can either source parts yourself, or if they have things in stock, go for all those things you couldn't get buying something off the shelf. You can have it really custom to what you want, and that's the great part about going this route.
That's right. We do sort of do that. We sort of allow people to kind of pick and choose from all the different options. There are a ton of configurations and a ton of different options, and that's basically exactly right. We allow people to kind of even send in their own parts kit they've collected, everything together, maybe over some time or whatever. They've had it around for a while. Maybe they thought they would be able to build it themselves or whatever. They'll send them in to us, and we'll take it from there. So that's an option. Really, that's right, exactly right. You can sort of choose.
And also to mention, if you visit their website is really nice because it has sort of a configurator on there where you can go through, and each option has a drop down where you can, when things are in stock and you want to place your order, you can go through and pick the various things that you want on your build. So you really get that custom feel. It doesn't have to be something that's in person and make a trip or do something over the phone. You can actually see the things on the website and do it that way, so you know and have an idea, put eyes on what you're choosing. I'm gonna get a build. You wanna walk me through the process? I mean, what's it look like?
Sure, absolutely. So you're gonna start out with something like this, just a sheet metal stamping, and in the end, you're gonna end up with something a bit like this.
That's what I'm talking about right here. This is money right here.
So how about I show you how it's done?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, so here's the first step. Here's the flat I showed you earlier. And the first thing we do is we get everything ready to go into the jig to bend the flat to actually form it into the receiver. So then you end up with something a bit like this, with all of the small weldments added and riveted on. So then from there, we actually take an original MP5 machine gun that's been demilled or destroyed, cut up. So we're going to be able to reuse the parts from it and put them into the new receiver to build the firearm. And then what you end up is something like this, where all the parts have been pulled out of the old receiver section. We clean them up and get them ready to go into the new receiver, where everything can be finished welded and assembled and get ready for test firing. We bring everything together, put all the parts into the receiver, get it all welded up, and that's what you see here. This one's looking pretty good, just about done, and pretty much ready to wrap this one up. Okay, so after the gun's all welded up, then we have to assemble it, get it ready for test firing. We have to make the magazine fit, the magazine well, make the mag release parts work. We have to make the lower fit, do the semi-automatic conversions. We have to basically get everything ready for test firing. Test firing is the final step before we get into all the final finishing. So after all that, after the assembly and the test firing, it all comes back apart again. We sandblast it, we do all the final metal work on it, a lot of hand sanding, final finishing. We have to machine the scope mount, claw mount bulges so that they'll accept the clamp-on rails. In this case, this has a Picatinny welded rail. And then we do the various stages of primer. Again, there's more hand sanding and cleanup, deburring, and so on. And then after the final paint, final finishing, we end up right back where we started with the finished MP5.
All right, so Wes, thank you for taking the time to show me around the shop today and
Sure.
give us just a little glimpse of generally, what's going on with these builds and what all work and time and things go into it. So I really appreciate that.
Absolutely.
And I'm really excited about getting mine. And don't worry, there will be a follow-up Chapter 2 video. When mine is done and I got it in hand, we'll put it through the paces, we'll go shoot it, we'll talk about it, and really just give it a once-over. So, but what I'm really excited about too, later on down the line, showing everybody what else you do with 416, UMP, and G36 builds, because I know that is part of a lot of what you do.
Absolutely, yeah. We do all that stuff as well, so we'll have to get into it, talk about that sometime soon.
All right, guys, stay tuned for those videos. As always, thanks for watching. See you next time.